For many years, over a decade, I was an atheist. If I was to die, I'd become worm food. Got to the point where I had this out-of-body experience, and I've heard this happens not to many people. Mine was a bit different. A lot of people have out-of-body experiences. They roll out of their body and they can see their body in their room. And well, I didn't do that. I kind of shot out of my body, bang, like a bullet out of a gun, through the roof. And I could see my street, could see the town that I lived in the UK, just going lower and lower, and I could see stars. What do I know anymore? And I realized I know nothing. And it was...
Hi, I'm Eden Cause, your hostess, and this is a New Earth Eden podcast. Fellow Breatharian initiate and family, Steven,
Yes,
my man, out of the UK. How you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing really good, thank you. Great
All right.
to see you.
Thank you. Are you ready just to share and to talk?
Very ready. Let's go. Let's do it.
All right, let's read your bio first. Early in his awakening. So Steven Bamber, early in his awakening, he had an out-of-body experience that flipped your entire paradigm. Since then, you have been visited by strange returning memories, repeated sightings of UFOs, and elemental beings. Continuing to deepen exploration of consciousness, this has taken you into the edges of what most people might consider impossible. I get that.
Yeah.
A dark night of the soul led you to Breatharianism, which we will talk about that, and which is profound and life-changing practice that has revealed your true purpose. He is now on a mission to bring the Unwind Machine to the United Kingdom for the first time, a device that makes deep nervous system healing accessible to anyone. Follow his journey at facebook.com/Steven J Bamber Bamber. Officially, hello. It is so good to see you, knowing that we had our first Facebook or Zoom meeting with all the Breatharian initiates from Spain last week. We keep up on WhatsApp. I am going to head and express that everyone who attended our retreat, I mean, it is like family.
It is, without question. The hardest thing I've ever done in my life, one of the, definitely for me personally, in terms of transformation and improvement, self-improvement, it has been by far the best. And I feel like it definitely just bonds you, just going through those experiences together. And, I absolutely bawling my eyes out at times, and you were there comforting me and helping me to kind of have these releases. So yeah, really, really strong bond, I find.
Awesome. And let me talk about that because I know I talk about it a lot. So probably most of you guys are familiar, but to go ahead and give a heads up. So we went in middle of March to Spain, and basically Breatharianism, and Steven, add onto this, please, is learning how to move away from food and water and getting your nutrition from the light, from the breath. So it is a total shift in what we have been taught about food and how you need food to exist. And Steven, you did 3.5 days without water. I did 4. Is that right?
Correct.
Yes. And again, science says after 3 days, you will perish. We had people in our group go for 5, for 8 days. So Steven and I are still on this journey of, again, we call it Breatharian initiate because we're not to that level yet. Like we're still doing broth, and Steven's going to talk about where he is right now with that too. I think you're eating now at least once a day. So we'll go into that.
Once a week.
Once a week. Oh, not once a day, once a week. So yeah, let's get heavy duty into that. But first, my first question now is in terms of the new earth. Okay. And what I loved about meeting all you guys, we were all kind of like minds as well. Like everybody was awakened to various degrees. For me, being with a group that knew so much, that was so refreshing to me too. So in terms of the new earth and where we're heading, what do you think that's going to be like? Knowing that a part of us is we've got 1 foot in it, which is great. And some people have more than 1 foot. What do you see happening?
I guess I see, all this kind of like like I guess the big thing is woo woo is just starting to become understood science that we just didn't know. Magic being explained in science that we can comprehend, in like quantum physics and this kind of stuff. It's what makes it seem so magical and what and kind of hard to explain is because we just don't have the language yet. We don't have the understanding, to kind of wrap our heads around it and go, yeah, it's just Jesus could walk on water because of X, Y, and Z, rather than it just being something written in an old book that people kind of can dismiss and kind of put away. So I think there's elements to do with that. I think there's elements to do with schools will be totally different. It'll be all about empowering and lack of limitations and about just complete development rather than trying to suppress and to get them to, trying to just get them to retain information that has already been predetermined. So
Yeah.
not no problem solving, that kind of stuff. So on a nitty-gritty kind of like basic level, like doctors, surgeries, people go to doctors and they'll be referred to Reiki masters. They'll be referred to psychedelic retreats. Like I kind of just see it being, especially initially, like maybe not UFOs, not maybe going around to the shops in UFOs or anything like that, but I think initially it'll just start to become the alternative will start to become the mainstream,
Yeah.
essentially. People be just explaining what they did. They get to work and they'll explain what they did in out of body experience last night, what realm they went to. And
Instead of
people will be
around the
like,
water cooler talking about the latest
yeah,
TV show or whatever, they're going to be
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about their latest out of body experience.
That's what I think it'll be. Yeah. I think people will be like, oh, by the way, I learned something new about chakras, and I don't know. I just think it'll just become that the dial will just start to be turned up on everybody else and all the other stuff, like the drama, the news kind of reporting. It'll just become obsolete. It'll just become like people will just not be drawn to that anymore.
Thank
Especially the
God.
trauma loops, I think is crucial. And I
Yeah.
feel like there's so many technologies and medicines and just even just methodologies and people like yourself who are helping people to kind of overcome this stuff because it's generational trauma loops, which is causing so much perpetuation of fear and war and whatever else. And when we can stop it, it'll obviously then have the opposite effect. Like trauma will be like really hard to find people because nobody passing it on. And
Yeah.
then therefore, because no one's passing it on, no one's creating it anymore. And the people that have created get trauma from like a natural disaster that we kind of can't avoid will just be people on by. Like emergency services will be coming to treat people with physical wounds and also trauma and remove it on site. Like that's how I see it. It's like, oh my God, we'll see it just as like someone's broke their back. It'll be like this person's got a level of trauma. We've got to get everyone that can be there to come and relieve the trauma so they can like literally walk out of it and be like, oh, that happened a few hours ago and I'm over it already. That's kind of see it. It's just kind of not, especially in the beginning, is like, yeah, people just start to get it and go, yeah, it feels about right. Like you talk to a lot, speak to my kids about crazy stuff that I've experienced, and they go, yeah, why not?
And that's
Because they
okay.
haven't been
How,
conditioned out of it yet.
yeah. Okay. How old are your kids? Let's go ahead and say that right now.
So I've got a 13-year-old, a nearly 10-year-old, and a 9-month-old. So
We
13-year-old boy, nearly 10-year-old girl, 9-month-old little boy.
Okay, awesome. And I wanted to go back to that. I talked about the water coolers. I also don't see people sitting around the water coolers anymore because I think this whole, working nine to
Yeah,
five, I think all
yeah.
that garbage is going to stop
Yeah,
as
yeah. I
well.
think that was a bad example because it did. There was a part of me that went, I don't think so. But I think it was just to try and illustrate that it'll be
Yes.
normal. But yes, I think you're right. I think entrepreneurship is going to be absolutely
Oh
crucial.
my gosh.
Um, it won't be 9 to 5. It'll just be whenever people want to work.
Yeah.
And if people want to keep working, people want to work a 20-hour shift because they love and there's no
Yes.
resistance and it's just like exciting, and that'll be the new norm. Um, And yeah, I just feel like, these one person businesses are like massive one person businesses are really possible with the help of AI. And obviously, I know there's some negatives with AI, but everything's neutral. So if we can use it in a positive way, then
Mm.
therefore it's positive. We can use it to magnify our message, magnify our excitement, used properly.
Nice. Okay. And I think what you're doing is heading towards entrepreneurship. I want to go to your life before your awakening and knowing
Hmm.
that, tell me if this is correct too. So, the awakening, the out of body experience, and the
Yeah.
breatharianism brought another awakening to you.
Hmm.
So, tell me about your normal life before all of this happened.
So I was just like, yeah, your normal. I was kind of consider myself an atheist, and because I brought up in a religious background, and there's just a lot of stuff in the Bible that just didn't resonate with me. Like, not not that I am gay, but like I had gay friends, gay relatives, and I just didn't see that as a sin. Just didn't fit how someone loving another person and being in a relationship, things like that, which just didn't resonate whatsoever, and a
Yeah.
number of other things. But ultimately, it kind of like made me reject the whole thing. So if the Bible's not true, therefore none of that kind of religions is true. Threw out the baby with the bathwater. So then and that was in my young adulthood, so maybe like 18, 19, 20, something like that. And I kind of been on and off with religion throughout my life, just kind of like not feeling right, but then feel like I needed something, or felt
Yeah.
like some parts of it were true and other parts weren't true. Like a lot of Jesus's teachings in that, make sense. I kind of get it, So then eventually, yeah, I just, for many years, over a decade, I was what I'd consider an atheist. If I was to die, I'd become worm food. That was my belief system.
And
I
what
did,
were your parents and your
oh, they
family?
were Christian. They
Okay.
were Christian. And then, yeah, so I, was really frightened because my belief that my children, when they die, they weren't going to exist anymore. And that was, just really terrifying feelings to think about. But again, that's what it was. And very limited in every aspect. Like very, what the mainstream was telling me was impossible or possible. That's where my limits were. And yeah, kind of I went searching for stuff because I wanted to run a business about 10 years ago. And business is great because it'll teach you a lot about yourself. It'll teach you where your limiting
Oh,
beliefs are, where
yeah.
your insecurities are, kind of thing. And yeah, it really brought a lot of that to the surface, which was hidden and dormant because I wasn't actually doing anything that was gonna, cause me to be more than what I was programmed to be, is what I interpret it as. So when I started to reach for more money, more success, more fulfillment, more, then I was feeling insecurities and fear and worry and dread and all this kind of stuff that made me question like where's this coming from? So I started to do some more digging, more looking, and started to realize that school seems like it's actually done a lot of this kind of
Mm.
damage and this programming, this training. And I was following a business guy. I can't remember his name now. It wasn't for very long, but I was liking some of his stuff. And then he kind of mentioned in one of his videos about out of body experience, about he called it astral projection. And I really didn't understand what astral projection was when I first heard it. Then he started to explain essentially out of your body and
Okay, and
experiencing consciousness.
this was just a business guy?
Yeah, business guy who kind of just
Wow.
mentioned that he does meditation
Oh,
and was
man.
into mindset. And then, by the way, I've had this experience and repeatedly have this experience. And I was like, why would he just lie? I didn't assume
Yeah.
initially that he was being truthful. I just assumed he was trying to, I don't know, make himself seem more interesting or what, I don't know, like just
Huh.
to get views. It didn't make sense.
Okay.
But it perked my interest.
Wow.
So I delved in a bit deeper, looked at some of the videos of people talking about out-of-body experiences, and there's like like a conference where there's like hundreds of people in the audience, and there's someone on the stage, and there are people asking the questions, and I'm looking at it from a very skeptical point of view, and like the people were asking questions to the person up on the stage, and they were answering. I kept thinking like they weren't asking questions on, how do I do it? They were asking how can I do it better, and explaining that, that they'd had these out of body experiences, they wanted to do it more. And I was like, well, I don't, again, my point of view is looking at this is like, how are they fake it? How are they paying
Yeah.
all these actors to do this? And and the people weren't, there wasn't, the video wasn't pitching a course, or there was no like, and at the end we want to get your money. Because again,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think again, I was thinking partially from a point of, someone's trying to make money from this lie, and there wasn't. And it was just perplexed me. What was the point? Why? What would you get out of it to pretend to do that? I just didn't. And the people asking questions just felt like they were genuine. I had a genuine sense of them, and the person answering the questions, it kind of like felt. Again, I had no. I didn't understand the language. I didn't understand the concepts that they were doing. There's nothing I could relate to.
Yeah.
But the way they were talking felt authentic. So therefore, I was like, okay, so I'm gonna, what the hell? Why not explore this? And I really hadn't considered the implications of what would happen to my life if it turned out to be partially true. Never mind, like a little bit true.
Okay.
It's like the example if someone told you they could fly, and then, but it turned out they could only like they could fly 100 meters in the sky, but actually it turned out they were lying. They could only fly 10 foot in the air. You would be like, you're flying. Like it doesn't matter if you ain't doing the full extent. Like you're not having a
Right.
full out body experience. If you're having crazy experiences inside your brain, inside your mind, then that in itself was shattering my that would shatter my paradigm. And again, I didn't understand paradigm. I didn't understand belief systems at this point. I kind of did it on a little bit in regards to, mindset, and but not earth shattering, paradigm shifting, worldview altering kind of perspectives. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
So let me ask you. This interested you and people were being authentic and you saw it wasn't just about getting money. So you were like, okay,
I'm gonna have to
I'm
try it.
gonna try this and just see. All right. So
Yeah,
you went into it just curious,
yeah, very curious. And again,
curiosity.
before I kind of went to try it, I was looking to get answers outside of myself,
Yeah.
which was something I'd always learned to do. Is I'm going to find out if and I've had loads of people talking about how it's fake and there's
Yeah.
demons, and I was just like, it just found out no one really could. The people telling me it was true could give me clear, precise answers on why it was true and what they were experiencing.
Yeah.
And then people who were saying it weren't true was very not woo-woo because but very washy-washy is the word I was meant, like
Okay.
vague, very vague.
Yeah.
So I was kind of a bit like, as demons. Like, what do you mean by demons? What does that look like? Like I just sounded like how you'd want to explain for people not to do something, but you didn't fully understand why yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, anyway, I just went to start doing this and found a YouTube video that like a guided meditation YouTube video that I listened to. Really good. And yeah, take me through it. And essentially, what I was doing is I'd wake up a couple of hours before I'd normally wake up. So, for example, if you wake up at 7 a.m., you're going to wake up at 5 a.m. or maybe half four, five, like 2 hours or 2 hours and a half before, because you kind of want to be in this loop, like kind of like tidy, you can go back to sleep, but not quite go back to
Mm-hmm.
sleep state. And you listen to the guided meditation, which helps you kind of focus and stay awake, but kind of allows you to drop into these crazy states. And I have had some bizarre experiences, which I'll explain, I'll kind of can try and explain at some point, or maybe another time. But yeah, just to get to the point where I started to see behind my eyes, I started to see colors and shapes and stuff. I was seeing things that wasn't my imagination that I could focus on and did not know what was going to happen next. And wasn't like, your imagination is like it's not clear, it's not
Yeah.
clarity, it's not visual. It is to a degree, but it's not like me and you now. Like you right now, I can clearly make you out and see you. And
Yeah.
this kind of stuff was what was really intriguing me. And it took me 2 weeks before I had an out-of-body experience. And I was and it's quite
Okay,
impacted
but
my
only
life.
2 weeks. I mean, that's really not. a
Yeah,
long
every
time.
night. But I was having crazy experiences between that, and that's what
Okay.
kind of kept me going for two
Yeah.
weeks. And it did affect my day a lot because I was quite tired in the day, but it was well worth it because I was having this, I was seeing things. Like, there was one time I had like a circle open up and I could see through it. Like, I could see a classroom, and there was nothing exciting happening. People were just walking around and grabbing a seat in a classroom and facing forward. I was at the back looking forward at a classroom. Someone's at this big whiteboard and they're like talking and drawing on the whiteboard. And then as I kind of like, what am I watching? Why are these people here in my eye, at the back of my eyelids?
Yeah.
Essentially, this is what's meant to be there. And it's started to close up. So again, I'm like, okay, so
It-
that's impossible, but
but
that just happened.
this had to be rocking your world in terms
Oh,
of
absolutely.
atheism too, and
Oh
suddenly
man,
being
like
there's more. I don't know what that is yet,
how?
but yeah,
Yes.
okay.
And still for the 2 weeks, I was still trying to process each thing that was impossible, which I was experiencing, which I was,
Yeah.
again, logically trying to explain and trying to rest. I was in turmoil. I was in turmoil. My old programming, my old conditioning was screaming at what I was knowing. It was a knowing of experience. Like I knew I was experiencing it. I knew I could see it. I knew it wasn't like a dream or imagination because I know what imagining is like. I know what dreams are like, and this was just totally different.
So could you talk to anybody about this first, or were you just
My
holding?
wife,
Okay, what did your
nobody.
wife say? Was
I
she
was
like,
just, she
all
was
right,
interested.
she was, that's great.
She's amazing, and she needs to be really because I've had so many crazy, wild, bizarre experiences, which she just, yeah, just listens to it and just
Oh,
no judgment at all. So I feel like a lot of safe space, sorry, to share this. So
so
yeah,
awesome.
I kind of got to the point where I had this out of body experience, and I've heard this happens not to many people who have out of body experiences. Mine was a bit different
Yeah.
to most, and it happens normally when you've been trying to do something for quite a while and nearly getting there.
Hmm.
Like, a lot of people have out of body experiences. They kind of like roll out of their body and they can see their body in their room and that kind of stuff. And it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting. Well, I didn't do that. I kind of shot out of my body, bang, like a gun out, like a bullet, like a bullet out of a gun, through the roof, and I could see my streets around me. I could see the town that I lived in the UK just going lower and lower, and I could see stars coming closer, and just like again, I was excited and terrified and confused, and I'd been told by a number of people that, I was kind of looked into like what am I going to experience and how do I get out of it, that kind of thing. And I used
Yeah.
my intentions, strong intentions, back in the body, get back in the body, get back in the body. Like this is my first time. I didn't want to be shot out of a gun kind of thing. And I came back into my body and I was awake and I got up and I was like,
Oh,
oh my
shit.
God, I've done it. I did it. I've done it. And I um couldn't really talk. I couldn't really explain to my wife like what happened, and I couldn't compute. And I was just very much like, I just so
So
this.
it was this like at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, and
Yeah,
you've
yes.
woken
This
her
is like
up
five in
and
the
you can't
morning.
talk?
Yeah, and just very confused and kind of
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna, go back to sleep, but you trying to process that and tell me later, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just remember just trying to comprehend, and again, I comprehend what's happened, but then what does this mean for what I know? What do I know
Yeah.
anymore? And I realized I know nothing, and it was terrifying.
Terrifying, but great though,
And then
right?
quickly led to liberation of like,
Yeah.
I'd been, and then anger and frustration, and this is something that me and you talked a lot, and you helped me process a lot of this when I was on our retreat. So yeah, frustration, anger, and there was an element of, oh, nobody really knows about this. I can go and tell lots of people, like religious people, like my family, all religious. So I was like, oh, I've got something in common because I actually believe that I'm not a body anymore. I relate to them in the sense that I'm a
Yeah.
soul and that I'm not the body, and they do. And yeah, that didn't go well, those conversations. And it kind of went down the path and realized, oh, religion's a control mechanism. I kind of just felt like they just didn't get it right. They're a bit wrong.
Yeah.
And they just wanted, and I was there to help them. I was trying to get out of this light a little bit.
Oh, the sunlight's coming through. So when you told them, were they just like, you are crazy? I don't, or was it
No, they were
silence or
very, very
just
concerned. No,
concern
I
for
think they
you?
believed I'd had the experience, but yeah, obviously they'd consulted people within their church, and yeah, he's allowing demons in. He's doing,
Okay, negative.
but these were all like really peaceful.
Yep.
And again, I do lots of deep dive into the science behind all this now, so I really know it from a science point of view that there's a lot of healing going on.
Oh
You
yeah.
call it a neuroplasticity, a lot of breaking
Yeah.
down of old patterns and old programming and old belief systems and rewiring to stuff that's now serves you. So it's kind of
Yeah.
like, again, really, really based on lots of science that shows it's the gamma brainwave state, the theta brainwave states, and yeah, I kind of like as at that point, I'm like, am I letting demons in? Am I kind of thing? And I thought, and again, I was at this point where I'm experiencing good stuff, so I'm going to keep trying it until I get something else. And I've only had positive experiences. I've no doubt you can have negative experiences doing this, but I do feel it's down to belief system.
Yeah.
Like
And
if you
intention.
believe, yeah, an intention, if you believe you're doing something and there's a high likelihood that you're going to experience something negative, then that's probably what you're going to experience.
Hmm.
So not to say that other people who've had it, that I've researched and said they have had bad experiences, I believe them. But yeah, it sounds like they've had a lot of deep programming from religious groups or any groups that kind of want to keep you away from being able to heal yourself. They don't want you being healed by anything, never mind yourself,
Hmm.
from what I've kind of later learned. But yeah, so that was just like it was like I spoke to a lot of people who've had, an awakening or like profound experiences, and it seems to be gradual, but this was just like so like instantaneous change. And yeah, so I feel like one of the benefits that I've got is I feel very, very like it's very recent. It's not that long ago when I was on the other side, and it does feel like um, how's the word to
So how
explain
long
it?
has it been?
About 3 years.
3 years. Okay.
So yeah, so it's really not been that long since, and I've done so much like, and again, it's not just one awakening, there are many, and I've got many
Yeah.
more to come,
Yeah.
and it's in stages. But that was by far the biggest one that I've had, that really shook my whole world. Um, yeah, really, really interesting time of my life.
Okay. And how did that lead you into seeing the world as a matrix and the falsities within? I know you already had questioned school, the falsities within the institutions, and oh, you're, raised to believe that this is good and this is the path that you need to take, and suddenly going, oh my gosh, no.
Hmm.
How did that lead you into seeing more on a earthly plane, let's say?
So do you mean more like how did it interact with my day to day kind of thing?
Yeah, like realizing, oh gosh, going to work every day and then this,
Okay.
a
Yeah,
401k
yes.
and
Yeah, it's really bizarre to go about my day to day, whether that's seeing colleagues, whether it's seeing family members, and just finding people that I trusted,
yeah.
like relatives who were religious, a Christian and stuff like that, sharing it with them and getting like they were screaming and shouting at me. Like they were really upset. And I told my brother, and he's not religious, he's an atheist,
Okay.
as I was. We were both very similar. And I explained to him my experience and him being a kind of science-based guy like I was.
Yeah.
So I was like, why don't you go and investigate and find out? But he rather just find the answers externally, which is, fair because that's what I'd have done previously. But he got really upset with me as well and was telling me I've lost my mind and that if he ever had these experiences, he would know he'd lost his mind and he'd be going seeing a doctor kind of thing. So yeah, I really learned quickly not to be kept really careful and really guarded who I tell.
Okay, so how
Um,
did you respond to that? Basically putting you down, trying to put you in your place. Was it like you kind of drank it in and then
And
you're just
initially I
doing
was
it anyway.
upset. But
Yeah.
then I kind of, I looked into, and again, this helped just really fast tracked um, my journey into, mindset and my self-improvement, that kind of stuff. And I just
Yeah.
realized it was just, I was touching on their limiting beliefs. I was touching on
Yeah.
their identities as religious, as a Christian, that if what I'm saying is true, that I've had positive experiences doing out of body experiences, then that counters what they've been told in the Bible. And if the counters what's been told in the Bible, then and the Bible isn't fully true, then who are they? Because they
Right.
are a
They're full
Christian,
like
as
their
identity is
identity. Yeah.
wrapped up in it. So I just knew that I didn't take anything personal. I love my family. I still love my family. We have a really, really close relationships. So I just really selective on what I talk about. I do like to
Yeah.
sow the odd seed and leave things for them to ponder, which not to debate. And I really am not interested in debating my own experiences. They're my experiences. You can't change my mind. I don't intend to try and change you. And again, I didn't need them to believe me to validate it.
Great.
I wanted to share it with them because I was excited and felt like, we've got some common ground, and there wasn't, it wasn't there. So that's fine. And I do feel like because like you can tell when someone's really, their belief system's really fragile because they'll really want you to have the same one. And
Yeah.
they'll keep bringing it up, and they might even get frustrated if you don't fully align with theirs. So the more they did that, I kind of was like, I don't need to have these conversations. I enjoy talking to people like-minded.
Yeah.
And I like to speak to people who are curious, who want to ask questions. Because I've mentioned to a few people that maybe they're not on the same wavelength, but I'm like, well, what about this and what about that? And
Oh,
I just answer them.
so
I don't want
nice.
to bash them. I don't want to be like, you got to believe this and this is what I did, blah, blah, blah. But I like to give people, little nuggets to stew on and to sit with and kind of, and again, you find people come back months later going, that thing you mentioned? Like, I've
Oh,
seen this other thing, about this thing, and and you can see them having a more gentle awakening, which I recommend.
that's got to be for you so exciting if they come
Yeah,
back and
yeah,
I
yeah,
like
seeing
it's
stuff.
just wow.
Yeah, yeah. And then you see people go, no, 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 no. Like they start to be curious, and then they
Yeah.
might, then you can see they've gone a different path, and they've gone actually, they've gone down the more the sort of religious, stay away from it, demon kind of thing, and I go, that's totally fine. And if they want to come back and they, like I've ping-ponged between Christianity and atheism, and then back to Christianity, back to atheism kind of thing in my young adult life.
Yeah.
And then obviously this, and that again, that was because I was looking for external answers every time. I was looking for some
Yeah.
external, and there was something intuition based that was making me realize that wasn't right. So, but then I kept going back to the same things that I knew which isn't right. Where this is like, there's no, it's just, there's no, it's night and day. There's
All right.
no questioning. There was no turmoil. There was
Yeah.
turmoil how to process what happened. There wasn't turmoil that it happened, and again, what it meant. Um, so yeah, it's
All right.
been,
So let me ask you,
yeah.
what do you believe now, knowing that that will grow and change about God, spirit, source, the universe? Where has this led you at this point?
Yeah, because I've done a numerous stuff like psychedelic experiences, and again, just much deeper meditations, breathworks, sort of sessions, which kind of really helped to not give me more answers, but give me better questions and more things to ponder, if that
Say that
makes
again.
sense.
That was lovely. I
Like
love
none of
that.
them really give me any answers or anything like that I was going in to try and find answers, but just much better
I
questions.
love that. All right, let
And
me.
I feel like, and again, like, so I don't really get, yes, this is true or that is not, but I get like a sense that we're in a dream. This is a dream. And we are, um, you know, in our own, and again, I feel like Bashar says a lot of stuff. I listen to a lot of Bashar stuff, and a lot of that resonates.
Mhm.
And some bits don't, and I leave those and I pick the bits up. And some bits that didn't resonate before, I pick up later on. And some of the bits I don't. So I just pick and choose what resonates. And he says, this is like being in a dream. We're in heaven with nothing but heaven. It's the only thing that really does exist. And occasionally we like to, because we're eternal, infinite beings, resonates. That just feels right. Like we have always existed, we always will exist. And that we are, in a dream. And this is a dream. I'm just in a dream right now, having a human experience. Probably had many dreams, or factfully, I'm, having many other dreams the parallel dreams. Because again, the fact that this time isn't real in the sense
Yeah.
that we don't end, because even in my atheist days, even in my sort of religious days, I really like to ponder the beginning of reality, the beginning of the universe. And feel, as a human, we kind of feel like everyone needs to have a beginning. But there was another part of me that was like, yeah, but what's before the beginning?
Mm.
Kind of leading me down that there is no beginning doesn't make sense because I need to know there's a beginning before the beginning. So does that make sense? Like
Yes, it
I
does.
wasn't
Yeah, it
happy
oddly
with
does.
I wasn't happy with infinite, and I wasn't happy with beginning and end. It has to be something after the end and before the beginning. So I kind
Yeah.
of like already been pondering these things. So when he was like, "Well, isn't true? Time isn't true. Time isn't real. It's just something we're playing with." I
Yeah.
was like, "That's true. That's a truth. That's a knowing that I have." um, kind of thing. So yeah, that and a lot of my and again when I hear things people say stuff like Bashar, other teachers like Ray Mayor, I just find I like to go into these states to find stuff that makes me go, yeah, I get that now. I get it. I get it. Like I align more with that. I resonate more with that. And yeah, and stuff that I doesn't, I just park it for now and just leave it there and not dismiss stuff.
Okay.
Which I
You,
used to have to be kind of trained to dis if it doesn't sit now, then it's not true.
it's not true.
So
Okay. I'm gonna
yeah.
say this for a moment. Stephen, you are such a big picture thinker, such a ponderer, because it amazes me that some people in life don't question any of these things. They
Mm,
just go through life that this is, this. And for the like, I'm also a big questioner. I'm also a
yeah.
big, let me explore this. I'm very open-minded, very flexible. And it does take that to have a willingness to expose yourself to more. And some of the questions that you talked about, they're really like, did you have these questions when you were a kid?
Oh yeah, I had a lot of questions like this kind of thing, which again, it's just conditioned to forget about and to remove. And
Yeah.
yeah, since having these experiences and more and having more of these like meditation and
Yeah.
psychedelic stuff, I start and again having hypnosis sessions and various other stuff. I start having more memories as a child, bizarre things which I kind of just disregarded totally.
Wow.
And yeah, I have a strong knowing. As again, this came back very recently. This is after our retreat. I had a strong memory of when being a child, and my mum and dad were telling me about, when you're born and you don't exist before you're born, and when people die and this kind of stuff. And I just remember thinking how silly it was as a child that I'll never die. Like I will never actually die. And I don't think I meant it in as a body, but I meant it as in as a whole package, like me. Like can't. That's just absurd. And I remember feeling it tickled me. I remember feeling like it tickled me that that was the case. And I do think that was young. I think that was like 6 or something like that, 6 or 7, like age, where yeah, you're still very I still feel like the veil is still thin and there's still
Yes.
memory. There's elements of memories maybe that are stronger of kind of like, the fundamentals of
Yeah.
existence. I think kids know.
Okay. So when your parents said that to you, did you just kind of, it tickled you inside, but you didn't say anything to them? Or did you just go,
Yeah,
Mom and
no, I
Dad,
just
you're
had a
wrong?
strong, like, I just, in my mind at the time, I totally just rejected what was said and was like, no, I won't. I have always, I haven't began was one aspect and that I would never not exist.
Okay, this is a great transition to Breatharianism. I want the audience to know what drew you to that? Because tell me if you agree with this. I think there 13 of us, and then Ray and his
Yes.
sister added, so there were
Yeah.
13. Out of the mix, would you say you were the least
The
acclimated,
baby.
the baby towards
Yeah.
fasting, towards
Everything, pretty much.
so
Yeah.
you had some pretty disruptive experiences, especially with not drinking. Okay, so first,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, we'll go into that. What made you go, yeah, I want to do that? Because you and I both discussed, we felt like we were drawn to it because we've done this before. So I think
Yeah.
just you and I were the only two that really expressed that. So was that what drew you to it? What made you go, yeah, let's do
So
that?
again, I do have a lot of empathy for people that are not awakened to this stuff, who are just totally closed to it, because I was not so long ago
Yeah,
on different levels. And I do, even after my out of body experience, I've had to catch myself deciding things are impossible that I have no information about, I have no experience in. I've just from a conditioning point of view, and I have to catch myself and go, wait, how many people would say what I've experienced is possible? Why don't I
yeah,
just explore this and just see again? I'm to learn this lesson a number of times of what is possible, limiting myself again. Why would I limit myself again? And
yeah.
I was looking, and I was having problems about diet. I've had fluctuated my diet a lot in my life, and overweight quite a lot, and then doing a lot of like severe like stuff like bodybuilding and being really, really like obsessive about my food and not in a healthy way. And then yeah, so I kind of was like trying to get a grasp of this diet and food and what's going on with me. I'm just comfort eating and stuff. So I found basically I came across a podcast with Ray Mayor talking about how he hadn't eaten for a year, and I was like, okay, very similar to the out of body thing. I
Yeah,
was like, I wanted to, like, when I'd come across it, I was like, this is a paradigm shift, massive paradigm
massive.
shift. And I was like, this guy lightly is talking utter nonsense. So I'm going to have to explore it and listen to this podcast and find out. And again, I got used to sit with my intuition, listening to things and just
Yes,
deciding
and
based on
authenticity.
how it felt,
Hmm.
and authenticity. And I was like, I just listened to the end of the podcast. I was like, it's true. It's true. I don't need to. I just knew it was a knowing. It was a strong knowing, not a full knowing of like, I'm like, I have like to what degree? There's things that I know, and
Yeah,
there's other things that I know. I feel like positive about, and it depends where they are on that spectrum. So
yeah,
this was very strong on the spectrum, but it was kind of like not on the I believe or that I want to believe. It was just something intuitive about it. So I yeah, just started to explore that and just yeah, really started to look into every podcast he'd ever been on and look into his stuff. And I just couldn't afford it. I really wanted to do it. I've been wanting to do it for over a year. And I put into like we have like a jar that we started doing last year into 2025, writing things down that we want to happen. And I wrote that down in January, and then money that January 2026, and then some money arrived. So then I booked it, and I was booked in for obviously March 2026. So it happened pretty quickly after kind of making that like decision that I'm going to write it down because I believe it's possible.
yeah.
And then after said the universe just sorted it out for me, made the order. So yeah, that's kind of like the how I got there.
So what did you expect for yourself? Because the one thing that I didn't expect was I don't know why I didn't think about this, but I don't know if I thought we just go there for a week and then, oh, I'm just going to eat one day. I didn't really
Yeah,
contemplate the time after and what
yeah.
you have to do. And
Hmm.
so how did you like, I'm just going to go and just discover some more about myself and see if this is true for me or what was your
Absolutely.
Let's take a pause from this video for a second. You are watching a show about the Breatharian process, which I also call the New Earth way of eating and existing and living. So, Ray, who was my facilitator, our facilitator, is offering through me a 5% discount if you have the gumption, the willingness to go through the initiation process. So, see my link below. And if you happen to go to Ray's website, which is Ray, R A Y, his last name, or.com. And if you tell him that Eden sent you, he'll give you 5% off there. Happy eating or not drinking. Ha!
Absolutely. It was like
Okay.
I obviously I knew that I'd looked to watch lots of not just Ray Mayo stuff, but watched loads of other content about Breatharianism, and yeah, a lot of people's experiences afterwards vary massively from just going
Wow.
back to eating 3 days and 3 meals a day, but just way more conscious about what they're eating and the amounts and that kind of stuff. And obviously, there's people who are like, I don't know, never ate again. Like there's a lady, one of Ray Mayo's students, who's never eaten a meal again, but what I wanted to happen, and I'll start with there, is that I wanted what Ray Mayo had. I like the sound of having a meal or two a week, was
Yeah.
where I kind of felt like, because food was fun. I still enjoyed food, but I just was misusing it, and it was using it as a comfort. It was an addiction. It wasn't fun. I wasn't always enjoying it. I didn't want it to, I wasn't I didn't want to be anti-food or anything like that. I've got a
Yeah.
family, young children. I wanted to enjoy
Yeah.
food with them and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I wanted a meal a week. That was the goal. And I was a bit naive thinking, oh, maybe I'm just gonna like day one finish and be like, yeah, I'm done and there's no more effort now. But there's not the case. There's a lot more effort when you get back. Way less than I ever thought possible. Way less than I ever thought possible because, before finding Ray, it was impossible to go without food. It just
Yeah.
meant dying. But again, remembering I'm in a simulation that I'm generating, so I can just kind of create the rules and change my belief systems and kind of do what I want, really. It might just take a bit of time and training to do that. But yeah, it
Right.
was really different to what I was expecting. But again, I,
Okay.
I didn't really know what to expect to
Well,
the short answer.
I want to go in with you being the baby because it was really neat. I didn't do any exploring after and the effect. So I had someone on my show that talked about breatharianism and I was like, that's and Ray happened to be one of the first videos that I watched. And I was also like, okay, that's it. I'm going to sign up
Hmm.
for it. And I have a tendency when something feels right to me, I don't have to
Go.
investigate it. I don't have to go further. I'm sitting here going, oh, it'd be good if I did, but not really, because probably if I did, I didn't want to have preconceived notions about it. I just like if something feels good to me and within my heart, I'm just going to go and do it. So with you being the baby during the week that we were there, can you share what you experienced?
I mean, I'd done a little bit of intermittent fasting. And when I say that, I mean like missing breakfast. I'd done like that handful of times in my life.
Yeah,
So I was very like not used to going without food, certainly not used to going without water.
yeah.
And obviously learned the detox, in regards to my
Ooh,
whole life of all the chemicals I've induced, the recreational things, the alcohol, all the kind of food, microwavable meals I've ever had, all this kind of stuff, heavy metals that were ready start to be processed. I got before I even done 24 hours in no water, I was sick. I felt really, really ill. I had to go to bed. I was playing cards. I think, no, I was chatting with you and Pete, and yeah, I just felt really sick as a dog. I got to bed, and yeah, it was really hard. Looking at everybody else, I was like, why is everyone so fine? Why am I struggling so much? I really felt like, and it's obviously turns out a lot of people maybe just had better lifestyles than I've had and done it before and kind of
yeah.
been through this initial um, detox. So this is that first time. It's going to be the roughest. And I really, really nearly quit on the second day. I remember speaking to Ray and his sister Addie, who were kind of, leading the sessions, the retreat. And I was like, I just feel so ill. I don't know if I can keep going. I was having violent, sort of like these violent hiccup, like
Oh,
indigestion type things that were just going on. It was really violent. It was like really throwing my body up, and like it was. I won't go into too much detail, but it was really, really unpleasant. This is like
okay.
for
And just to
hours.
be clear, would you, like heartburn, acid, and not
Yeah,
drinking water. So
yeah.
normally, if you have something like that, you would
You
drink
can wash it
something
away.
down. But yeah, you
Yeah,
can't
no,
wash it away. It is just
no.
in your face, and
Yeah,
oh,
yeah. But it was like it was just so constant. And again, my dry fasting now is way easier. Like I can do 2 days. It's a struggle. It's difficult, but just not a not a touch on what it was before. So definitely do see that because I've heard people since tell me that it's bad, you shouldn't go without water, and I get it. Again, it's still programming,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying go without water forever because I mean there's some people that can, um, and that's obviously depending on belief systems again and intentions, what you want to achieve. But yeah, so obviously there's a progression. So the more I do it now, it shows that if that was true, then it would be as painful every time if there wasn't a detox happening.
Yeah.
Like if it's getting easier, then it's showing you the body is adapting and improving and releasing something. That makes sense. So yeah, I just feel like again, it's just a knowing as well, and just my intuition's just like, yeah, it's definitely something being cleared out. And there is science that's emerging that starts to show that dry fasting is starting to show, and science is always just trying to catch up what, you know, people like us kind of already start to do, or start to find people like us who have already been doing it and teaching it. So yeah, I mean, there's the back in the day, going without food was dangerous and you shouldn't fast. That was the science, and the
Yeah.
science is the opposite now. The science is overwhelmingly showing that fasting is beneficial for the
Hmm.
body, and how it goes to clearing up all the kind of dead cells, and it goes into kind of the optimization mode, it's clarity mode, it's energy mode. So again, it's just a matter of time. The dry fasting science is appearing now and is being done in, and more data sets being shown. So yeah.
Yes. When you, after the 3.5 days, when you were able to have water, like it was a mystical experience for me. What was it like for
Hmm.
you?
Yeah, I can picture it very vividly. I can feel it. I
Yeah.
can even taste the water in the
Yeah.
same way that I could taste it. It was divine. It was it was life-giving. It was just stunning. I can't really describe it properly. And again, a lot of my experiences that I had that I go against the mainstream are just beyond the words. There's no vocabulary to describe them. So yeah, someone who's not experienced it will have to just try it for themselves to know. But yeah, it's absolutely amazing experience. And yeah, really, really
And I would
just beyond
say
words.
that was probably, I mean, there's been since then remarkable things, but that was just one, again, like you describe it, a pivotal moment in my life that I will never forget because my gratitude and I had such respect for water, but I didn't realize how much I really didn't, for
Hmm.
lack of a better way of saying it, that it
Yeah,
was just, again, profound. And like, you don't have those kind of experiences every day. So it
yeah.
was worth the hardship of not having it. And like you, I do not the past 2 weeks, but we're supposed to do a dry fast a week, which that is really not that hard, just 124 hours. I know you've done two. I still would be interested in doing three on my own.
Yeah,
I haven't done that yet because it was so nice to do that, or to
yeah,
do that for a period of time with other people, not knowing. Like for me, I was exhausted. I didn't have what you, but just tired and lethargic. We had yoga every morning. There were a couple times I know you lay down. There were a couple times I couldn't, you know,
yeah. I couldn't do a lot
muster
at all.
energy.
Like, I just couldn't really function very well. Just
Yeah.
walking very slowly to places. I couldn't have the energy to talk to people, and I
Oh.
didn't want to burden people with my breath because my mouth was so dry. And obviously detoxing as well. So I was like, "Hello, good morning" to
Oh.
people, like because you just part and parcel of it. But yeah, and again, I was way happy to do it because I just felt like the discomfort I was going through was just a measure of the metals and poisons that were being released.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yes, it sure
Like
does.
assess that in the gym, the measure of the burn that you get in the gym with the muscle growth it determines how much growth you're going to get.
Hmm.
And it can be discomfort, it can be uncomfortable. And now I really do dry fast. I look forward to a dry fast. Very bizarre. Very, very bizarre. And I'm reluctant to stop sometimes. I've done my 24 hours because I do that every week since
Yeah.
being back. And sometimes I just like, I keep going. I just there's an element of it. I don't know if it's an element of just I think it's a combination of feeling more clarity, pushing your boundaries, pushing comfort zones. And I feel it excites me. The fact that I am not feeling the detox levels
Yeah.
in this like day to day range shows me that I'm, those parts of my body that the detox happens within 2 days are kind of pretty well done.
Mm.
And I feel like really want to push into those deeper ones. And again, I feel like I'm going to need a retreat for that because when I go deeper, I do get a bit. I can't. I've got a 9 month old. I've got
Yeah.
children.
You
I
got,
can't.
yeah.
My wife takes up all the flack because I'm low in energy. When I go beyond, like 30 hours, I start to need to sit down a bit more. Not much more, but
Yeah.
yeah, I probably can't run to the park with the kids and do stuff or like. So I kind of have to sit back a little bit, let my wife take up the slack, which is obviously not fair. But 24 hours is easy. I can do everything that I need to do. Up to 30 hours, I can do everything that I need to do. It's not a problem.
Mm. Mm-mm.
So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to pushing into the 5, 7 days. I don't know when. No rush on that, but I definitely know that that is something on the cards.
Okay, I have to give you this, Stephen. I did a 3 day, like I fasted for a long time, so in my late 20s, and it was water fasting, but the third day was just like I almost wanted to throw up. Like there was some stuff. So considering that I've done this most of my life and that you just came into it, and I'm trying as you talk about it, I'm closing my eyes for a minute, taking my experiences and imagining 1 week for all of that to come through
Mm,
versus various periods. That is, you've got some guts and some heart. My kids are grown, so I knew, that I wouldn't have to be. So I have my special needs daughter that's with me every other week. Yet I didn't have to cook. I didn't have to be
mm,
okay. So you're in that with younger kids. I also had my partner go with me, which is fabulous. So your
mm.
wife did not join you, even though
Yeah.
she's very supportive of you.
Yes, she is.
Right now, does your family outside of your wife and your kids, do they think you're bonk? Like, oh my God, not only was he bonkers with his out of body stuff, but now he's not eating. What the heck?
Yes,
How
very
has that
much
been?
so. Yeah, yeah. Initially, there was a lot of pushback, and like, well, my mum, obviously, just my mum.
Oh,
She loves me. And it's something definitely within her, and it's something
yeah,
with my grandparents as well. They were war babies, so it's
yeah.
like we had a lot of rationing and stuff like that. So food is love, feeding is love, and to see to they want to know that they want me to know that I'm loved so by them, and they need to feed me to do that. So I felt like that's the strong part, and initially there was friction, there was frustration on their part, and
Yeah.
I know I knew it was coming, and I kind of told them that I'm having protein drinks. No, I just kind of lied to them that I'm having more than I'm having because they're not at a state where they'd be able to understand any of this. I
Yeah.
can't tell them about prana, about chakras, about, living on prana and this. It's just too much for them. So I just told them that I'm doing a detox, a long detox,
Mhm.
and they saw very quickly because I'd been a lot of depression leading up to this retreat, suicidal
Oosh.
depression, bouts of all sorts like really dark stuff, and
Thank you for sharing.
they knew elements of this, not too much because I try to protect them a little bit from it, and I knew they didn't have any answers for me because they just told me about the Bible, and I just knew that wasn't a route for me. So again, yeah, like my darkest days have been after my awakening, which is counterintuitive, which I thought, oh,
Yeah.
I'm awakening now, everything's going to be shiny, and it wasn't at all. And
Oh,
again, it's part of the journey, and I'm
that makes
really glad
sense.
and grateful for it. Um, just as a side note. But yeah, so I kind of was like, so they just saw how happy I am and how
Oh my God.
clarity I am, motivation, energy, and I want to create, I want to build, I want to push my comfort zones, and I just seem so much happier. And they just literally just got on board. They just, we're coming around because we live very close, so we have lots of meals together as a family. And part of what we do with extended family, like my siblings with their children and spouses and stuff. We get together like almost a couple of times a month to have meals together, and they just ring me up and like, "You bringing your soups? Yeah, bringing my soups. Yeah, we're doing this." And they just got on. They just accepted it just
Okay,
because
so you
they
are
could.
you're bringing your broth, so you are eating something,
Yeah,
so
they
you're
could
still
see me having
participating.
something. So yeah, they wanted
Yeah,
to, and I wanted to make sure that, again, I don't feel like I'm trying to appease them and doing
yeah,
but I'm just being wise. It feels like wisdom to just give, because I am pushing their comfort zone.
yeah.
With this, I'm still pushing their paradigm, stretching their paradigm and messing with their belief systems in a sense because like and I kept saying like it's bizarre how much energy I've got regarding how much little food we actually need. And I don't tell them how little I'm having, but I'm just saying I am having way, 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 way less.
Okay, well,
And still balancing my weight. Like I stop losing weight very quickly.
okay, I understand not wanting to shake them up too much. Yet I'm guessing you're able to move out of the lying, I guess, at this point that you're detoxing that like is that becoming easier? Not that you have to tell them everything, but
No,
you can still
it
be
was initially
authentic.
it was initially I told them
Okay.
that
Just to
well
make them
I
comfortable.
thought yeah, I'm gonna actually just a bit more detail. I told them if I need it, I'm going to have milkshakes. I'm going to have protein shakes if I feel like I need it.
Okay.
If so don't worry. And obviously at that point I wasn't. I knew I was going to have some discomfort. I knew I was going to lose some weight, maybe lose some weakness and lightheadedness and this kind of stuff. So I knew I was just going to persevere. Um, so yeah, I kind of wasn't saying I am having them, but like I will for clarity. And yeah, once I kind of appeased them for that, and the fact that they've seen me lose weight but not look weak, like because I'm not skinny. They kind of just stop asking and just kind of do, just got on board and we're
Yeah,
just
because you
fine with
look
it.
great.
Yeah, I feel really great.
Okay, like a lot of us are
Look,
very skeletony right now, including
yeah,
myself, but you don't look that way.
no, I don't look that way, and I was expecting to. And yeah, I have kind of changed things a little bit. Like I do
Yeah.
have more juice and broth than was expected. That we were guided to have about a liter a day. We're meant to have, and I did have much more, like a liter and a half, sometimes 2 liters.
Yeah,
But
me
then I
too.
was doing way more. I was doing multiple dry fasts a week. So I don't know whether it balanced it out, but I kind of felt again following my intuition. And Ray
Yeah.
makes it very clear: there's no rules; these are
Yeah.
guidelines, and there's no destination that you have to get to. It's just whatever you feel like. So I play around with things. I'm my own researcher. I'm my own scientist.
You
I'm kind of
are.
gonna go and I like to speak to my wife a lot
Yeah.
and say this is my intentions because I know sometimes we can fudge our intentions to fulfill a need that we're probably suppressing. Like, oh yeah, I feel like I should drink now. And no, actually, my wife's like, no, you said you were going to try and do another dry fast. You probably should stick with it.
Hmm.
Or she'll say, go an hour and tell me what you think in an hour,
She's
or sleep on it
so
and tell it.
great.
And
I
again,
have
you
to meet
get,
her at some point, please.
yeah, yeah, she's
Wow.
great. And I'll speak to her and be like, I'm thinking of ending my dry fast. And you'll be like, tell me in an hour. Or because we're leading up to a meal time,
Great.
so she's like, maybe wait after tea and then we'll have a chat about it. She's not telling me I can or shouldn't or
Yeah.
can't or whatever.
Just
She's just like, do that. I was
letting.
like, yeah, I can go. I can prolong it an hour and decide. And then I get an hour and I'm like, yeah, that's gone. That phase is gone. I'm fine. I'm out. So I kind of like to put it to her for accountability
Yeah.
and just as a soundboard to bounce off stuff. And my kids are really good. I totally
That's
transparent with them. I don't keep anything from them.
good because they would
Um,
know. They would know.
yeah, and I
So good
want
for
their
you.
belief system to be brought up knowing that everything is pretty much possible. So it's really important that their their paradigms don't get flipped because they're kids. They're kind of like, yeah, okay, yeah, that's fine. They're so malleable.
Yeah.
Well, I was like late 30s when it happened to me, so I'd had a lot of conditioning programming to get me to that point.
Yeah.
So their conditioning programming is like, I'm trying to keep them in that really like they teach me,
Well, and
like
they come into the world right now so much more open than we were,
absolutely.
and the kids that are coming in. So yeah, it's going to be. They're really going to
Like
help with this paradigm shift as
My,
well.
my
So
my
good for
daughter, for
you.
example, we have this jar that I told you about that we write things
Yeah.
that we want to be possible, that, wealth and health and all this kind of stuff. My daughter wrote on it to shapeshift.
No,
And
wait,
I was
wait.
like,
How old is
she
she?
wants to, she's she was not she's 9.
She's 9.
Yeah, she wrote it
Good
down on there.
for
And I was
her.
like, but this is my initial thought was,
Boom.
oh, she's not got this. she's not, it's obviously not going to happen. You can't shapeshift. She's obviously wrote something down. And I was just about to say,
Stephen.
let's let's try another one that's actually going to come true. And
Oh,
I caught myself, and again, she's a teacher. She's
good for
teaching me,
you.
and I was about to do it, and I was thinking, what am I teaching her to say? But I was initially not even thinking, I better not, because I was thinking I better not say it because I don't want to write over something that is actually possible and not
Yeah.
think about it. But then I started thinking about maybe shape shifting is possible. So
Yeah.
again, I had to go down a rabbit hole of this kind of thing. And yeah, it's obviously something that's happening. There's lots of beings doing this. There's lots of humans doing this, and obviously
Yes.
they're not in the mainstream. And I'm just like, it's just a, she's my teacher. My son teaches me. My baby's going to teach me. Like,
Yeah.
and again, when you see someone as a teacher, they are. Even my teachers at school, they taught me how conditioning works. When I look back at it now,
Yeah.
even though it wasn't the conditioning I wanted, and they
Yeah.
didn't know they were doing it. They're part of they're part of the conditioning network as well. But yeah, so it's just a learning experience, and I think when you see it like that, it becomes that. So yeah, really, really humbling to have children kind of say things that they want to do,
That are even
and it really
broader.
challenged my beliefs. Yeah, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, yeah, keep that in. You should write that down.
Oh my God.
What other stuff similar to this can you tell
She's
me yeah. So yeah,
and
she's brilliant.
I do want to add your baby. I feel like it's gonna boom be explosive. So it's so good that you've had these experiences so you're ready to handle that. Okay,
Mm,
tell me, I want to know about I want to go into the unwind machine. So I know you had talked a little bit about that at the retreat, and as we're
mm.
recording this, that was 2 months ago. Yet it feels like you have really stepped into that now.
Yeah.
Tell us more about where you're heading and what that is exactly.
So shall I tell you kind of a bit about how it came about
Yeah, and
briefly?
oh, and let me to in our discussion on breatharianism. I think right now
Yeah.
you're eating once, like for the past couple weeks, eating once a week and then
Yes.
staying on the broths and juices and water. Is that correct?
Yeah. 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 So again, I felt like Ray suggests we get to 2 months, which we're not quite at 2 months yet, are we?
Almost. Well,
Oh,
two weeks left.
2 weeks left till we've
Yeah,
done 2 months since,
since we
before
left.
we could start to introduce food.
Yeah,
And I just, again, knowing that there's a guideline,
yeah,
and I just felt so good. There was no cravings for food. There was no hunger.
that's
I'd
amazing.
crave water and flavors when I
Flavors.
got deep into the dry fast.
Yeah.
That's when I crave it. And obviously, day to day, when I am drinking fluids, I don't drink. I drink between like 12 and 8. So I'm intermittent fasting water every day,
Okay.
kind of. Anyway, that's kind of standard that we're doing, isn't it? And I felt so good. And I just felt like I wanted to try a meal just out of curiosity, that I wanted to see what happened when I ate. And and again, I'm really cautious not to eat because I'm hungry or craving, or like I felt strongly that I could take or leave like a meal. So then I was like, I'm going to try it, and then I'm going to just see what happens, because I did want to enjoy eating with the family
Yes,
as a
the
fun
social part.
experience. And it was like, so I started to do that, and yeah, I ate a meal and I felt exactly the same,
Okay. Did you have a
exactly the
full
same.
meal or just a tiny bit, or
I had
explain that a
like
little bit too?
a medium-sized meal.
Okay.
I
Considering
and
I
I
haven't eaten
took
yet.
Yeah, it took me like 2 hours to eat. I ate it so slowly, and I enjoyed every bite, every bit of
Wow.
texture, and it was fun.
What was it? And I'm
What was
asking this for
it?
myself, knowing that
Yeah,
soon. Yeah. What'd you eat?
yeah, it's like a pizza. Just had a pizza with my probably a pizza night sort of
Okay.
thing. So flavors and textures and things I wanted to eat, and it was fun. I just enjoyed it. And yeah, there's an element afterwards, like, did I do the right thing?
Yeah.
And I kind of quickly just got to the point, I'll find out, and it's not wrong regardless, because I'm a researcher. How do you know? How
You
do you know
are.
unless you do?
Yeah.
And I was really pleased. I was really satisfied that I hadn't done it based on needing food and being hungry and craving and being like it was on my mind all the time, because I know that's when I want to push it away the
Yeah.
most. Like when I really looking forward to like having a juice after a dry fast, I kind of wait until there's a fade because you go peaks and troughs, don't you? It fades.
Yeah.
And I know when it fades is the time to have it. When you kind of like, oh, I could go a bit longer. No, I'm going to have it now because you're kind of conditioning the mind
Yeah.
to have it when not to keep want to try and get you to have it more basically. Um, and yeah, so then I had the second a week later. Again, I'd gone a week, and I'd been like, yeah, I feel absolutely just like the weeks before leading up to this when I felt really good. Because the first few weeks from coming back were tricky. They were hard. I didn't know if I was going to stick it out, to be honest.
Because you did eat at one point, isn't that right?
So
And
yeah,
then
to
you did,
clarify, the first day
yeah.
I came back, I ate.
Oh, the first
Like the
day.
first day I got back with my family, I ate. I was like, and again, it was from a place
Oh,
of like, oh, I need to eat. I just can't sustain this. I can't imagine going months like this right now because I wasn't. If I'd let myself go a little bit further, I could have allowed that wave to drop.
yeah.
And the longer we went after the treat, those waves just became tiny. Like sometimes it'd be like a 5 minute pang of like, oh, I feel hungry. Oh, I'm not hungry. And then literally the rest of the day, totally free from any hunger, any thought of hunger. Even when I was cooking food from the kids, I'm sat at the meals helping feed the baby with food.
Right.
Where I'd normally be helping eat food, the baby doesn't eat or my kids don't eat. I'd be clearing everything up, just easily just not eat it. So yeah, so I kind of got to that point where yeah, felt great. Got to the next week, and it was another family do, and I was like, 'cause it's like a few birthdays together, so went out for a meal this time. The other one was at home, and yeah, I just really enjoyed the meal and just took frigging forever to eat it. Just really
Yeah.
wasn't
Isn't
going
that
to be rushed
great?
by anybody and really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And yeah, really stopped before because sorry, yeah, so there was I jumped ahead a little bit. I had that meal when I first come back, and I felt really heavy, and I really felt underwhelmed by the taste.
Hmm.
Wasn't as exciting I thought it was going to be. The satisfaction after the meal wasn't going to. I overate. I felt really uncomfortable. I felt heavy. I just really felt like I didn't want to do. That's not what I like to get back into. So then I did like a 2 day dry fast, a bit over about a 2.5 day dry fast after that.
Ooh,
And that was hard, but again,
I can
way
imagine.
easier than it was at the retreat for the first time.
Yeah.
And then I'd started back on juices again. And I was like so pleased for that because the meal actually energized, it showed me what I didn't want.
Yes, I'm sure it
Really, really
helped.
strong, yeah, which showed me what made me really clear on what I did want.
Hmm.
So then I felt so like bulletproof then. Even when I was having the hunger pangs, I was like, I know what's in store for me there. Like I could, it was so recent, I could remember it really easily. Like,
So
and
great.
it was so uncomfortable that I was like, no, the pa hunger pangs equals discomfort. So then when I was feeling it kind of like, yeah, it just wasn't, it was no part of me that thought I'm going to eat. It was easy. And I just got on board with just exploring different liquids. That was fun. So I was just having different types of broths and different types of juices and exploring just like, I don't know, ice lolly. I was getting my juices and having it as ice lollies and kind of like licking it and having it just in different forms
Ice
and stuff like that. So,
lollies.
so it's just like, I'm just playing and having the
And you
same
really
things that I
had
wanted to do.
juiced before either. Like all of this is
No, not at
new.
all. No,
All right,
absolutely brand new.
Stephen, before we get to Unwind Machine, if you can tell people one thing about food and what you've discovered in a succinct way, what would you share?
I think one thing that comes to mind is like people associate addiction with the drug heroin. Addiction isn't the behavior, it's the relationship with the behavior. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So how can you be addicted to food? You need it's like being addicted to air. No, you can get addicted to food. I know being obese and stuff, but even if you're like a normal weight, some people put weight on more than easily people, but we're still relying on food to fulfill a need. And if the relationship with food is fun and enjoyment, and you can take it or leave it, then you have a good relationship with food. If you need it to sustain you, if you need it to comfort you, if you need it to numb you or to mask behaviors, or to mask feelings, stuff like that, it's an addiction. So that's what really helped me to free me from the addiction. And I feels like, yeah, it's the relationship with it is the crucial part. So and again, anyone listening to this who just feels challenged by that, good. maybe you should explore it. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to go on a breatharian treat.
Yeah.
Maybe look at doing something else, like just reducing your meals or intermittent fasting. It doesn't have to be at this scale. Because like for me, the week before the retreat that was the hardest thing I'd ever done before I got on the retreat, and
So
then the
the week
retreat became the
before
hardest
was
thing.
raw.
I raw vegan for people listening was
Yeah.
a raw week of 7 days of raw vegan, and I really wanted to quit many
Oh my
times. And if I
God.
hadn't of because the amount of money that to do the retreat, it's a lot of money to me, and if I hadn't have paid that already to do it, I without question would have stopped. It'd been too hard. I need to find another path. So the pain of wasting the money was what was getting me through it. I really was going to quit a few times, and I got today because of the cravings. And again, I was eating as much fruit and
Yeah.
nuts and salad as I wanted. And it was interesting. It was a great learning curve. I wasn't hungry. These were actually chemical cravings, and it really, there was a part that wanted to quit, but at the same time, I was like, oh my God, I'm being poisoned. This is the sign
Yeah.
that I'm addicted to the food because even if I was raw vegan, on that side of things. I should be able to be fine because I'm eating full meals. I didn't go without food. It wasn't fasting in any way. I was eating
Mm.
3 meals a day, raw vegan, and I was in pain. I was having headaches. I was having sweats. I was lethargic. I was headache, weak,
Oh
but I
my
was having
God.
full meals. So it really was like, oh my God, I am like a drug addict coming off heroin. This is like a drug addict coming off alcohol, having
You
these sort of stuff.
you have been through it. So it's amazing. Like I
Yeah.
don't know if I
So
knew you.
then
I knew you had some challenges with the raw, but I don't know if we talked about it in
Oh, it was
detail.
it was
But
the worst thing it's the hardest thing I'd ever tried before the retreat.
oh my
And
God.
then the
So
next week was the hardest thing I'd ever done on top of that.
beyond that, and to even look at you now, 2 months later at where you
Mm,
are, it really is astounding.
yeah.
It's astounding. To me, you being the baby of the group, if you want to call it that, you were also the most like to look at you and what you've been through that if you can do it, come on everybody.
Yeah.
You can do something even if it's intermittent fasting,
If
just
you want
challenge your
to,
beliefs.
if you're not happy, you need to do something because again, it comes from this place of, again, being trained that I'm miserable and something external is going to save me. A pill is going to save me. A
Yeah.
person is going to save me. A political leader is going to save me. Someone's going to come and save me. Something's going to come and save me. No one's coming to save you.
You
You need to go and do it.
you need to go
And
and do it.
it may be difficult
Yeah.
initially, but it's going to pay dividends. It's going to pay you so much more. You get way more back. It doesn't balance out. It's way more. It is way more. Like to try and do the getting up early and doing the meditation thing to try and have the out of body experience was tricky. It was a problem, but it paid me way more. The Breatharian thing is the difficult thing I've ever done. And I know I'm going to top that. I know I'm going to 10x that difficult level with something else. And that's going to pay in dividends even further. Like the thing after this is levitation. I'm going to be learning to levitate at some point.
Well, I love where we are right now. Like these things, shape shifting, levitation, it's all possible. Okay, so the unwind machine, I want to talk about a little bit about this and then go to the practice. But a part of me is like, I feel like just the motivational talk that you just gave was pretty much the practice. If there's anything else you want to go into, but yeah, tell about the one unwind machine and this breaking you, I think, from the paradigm of you're working 9 to 5, even though you work nights,
Mm.
really moving away from this classical job. So talk about that and talk about what brought you to that.
So again, like the Unwind Machine is something that I'd come across probably similar time to the Breatharian thing with Ray Mayor. Like it'd
Yeah.
been on my radar, something I found really interesting, but it was impossible to attain. So therefore, it was just an interesting thing I'd come across. And again, I wrote it in the jar the same time I wrote about the Breatharian thing,
Okay, so what is it?
January. It's a machine. It's basically like a dome shaped. It's about 9 foot tall. It's kind of like like so you can fit it in a large room, in a largest room. It's not very wide, 9 foot by 9 foot, and basically there's a spinning plate inside. So you go inside it, and there's hooks, and you put these special boots on. You hook yourself onto the plate, and you spin upside down. That is it. And it sounds too simple to have so many amazing benefits. and it's quite, it's quite counterintuitive. Like to solve lots of trauma issue and things like that, it needs because it's a complex issue. It needs to be a complex solution. It just it just does it, and so that's it in a nutshell. And I on the retreat we had these days of silence during the days of dry fasting, during the days of obviously fasting as well. So there's lots of it was a perfect storm for intuition to come in. There's no distractions. There's nothing to mask. There's nothing. Everything's just coming to the
We do
surface.
not have our
Which,
phones.
no phones at all. No technology. Couldn't
Yeah.
speak to anyone. Couldn't look at anybody. And I really went to make the most of those days. And the Unwind Machine just kept coming up. It just wouldn't have leave me alone. So I knew that that was going to be a profound part. And it's been after, so I knew it was going to be a big point, but I didn't really know what to what degree.
Yeah.
And yeah, so since the retreat, it's just become more apparent why that's happening. And I'll go into some benefits of what it does.
So
Okay,
are you
so
thinking you're going to get one, or is that
I, I have no finances to get one.
okay? How
But
much are they?
again, they're about £10,000, so about $13,000 to buy
Okay.
and just get it shipped to you kind of thing. But I've already got an investor who's going to buy me one.
Shut up. That's great. Because I'm
So
sitting here
obviously,
going, Stephen, it's not going to be a problem for you.
yeah, it's not.
Awesome.
It's already lined. It's already sorted out. I need to try one before I buy one.
Yeah.
That's where I feel like not necessarily just I think there's a commitment to the investor
Yeah.
that I need to make sure that what I'm going to be because I'm going to pay them back and they're great. They've said there's no pressure to pay them back. The machine's going to pay them back because I want to do it as an enterprise. It's something I want to use as a
Yes.
business that I want to help get it to other people. And I'm thinking big picture. I want people to see it as a business model that can expand. So I really need to get to the benefits because I think people are going to listen to it. Well, it tells what it actually does.
Let's hear.
So there's a guy called Benjamin Farley who's the inventor of it, and he uses it a lot with people with war veterans, especially because obviously there's a crisis across the world with people with PTSD and all sorts of levels of trauma with that. And they've been using it, and they come off and they have these hysterical crying fits, these hysterical laughter fits, which again, Eden, is trauma being released. These are
Yeah.
trauma released. They're not associated with any thought or emotion or like memory or anything like that. They just come off and have these involuntary releases of trauma. Their experiences on the Unwind Machine sound so much like my deep, deep, deep meditation things. They have no concept of time and space. They have like they do not know that they were on a machine. They totally forget about their existence here as a human. They have experiences of being cradled by a giant mother, like just being cradled by a mother and just loved. And they have, yeah, no concept of what this mother really is. Like kind of like psychedelic experiences, kind of like deep meditation experiences, which the word that keeps coming up is ineffable, beyond description, without description. And the testimonials are so fun to watch because you can just see them trying to
Put it
reach
into
around
words.
their vocabulary to find to explain the experience, and they can't. And again, my background is working with children with trauma, complex trauma, and trying to get them to engage in talking traumas. The thought of having to get these children with severe ADHD and autism to do deep meditation to have these experiences is not accessible. To have psychedelics and do these medicine retreats is not accessible to do that. So it really feels like these kids, for me, my belief system was these kids are just stuck with the trauma until they can get to an adult age to be able to adopt these kind of practices. And a lot of people suffering with depression, like I've been in
Yeah.
bouts of depression,
Oh,
you
yeah.
don't have the resources needed to have a practice. You don't have motivation. You don't have energy. You don't have like any you're not excited by things. You don't feel desire or motivation to push and to try. You don't have resilience. So to be able to go and do these things are really, really inaccessible. To hang upside down, they can do it. Anybody can hang upside down. It's not advisable if you're really obese. Um, they're kind of obviously something to work on before that. People
Yeah.
who've had like recent spine surgeries kind of get that. And
Yeah.
this isn't the only modality. There's more modalities, more stuff going out anyway. But
Okay,
anybody
can I
else who
ask
can
you,
hang upside, yeah, of
how long do
course.
you hang? Like, is there a set
Oh, you're
amount?
talking 10, 15 minutes at a
Okay, 10 or
time.
15 minutes. And does it
Um,
twirl pretty quickly or just because
you decide. There's no
okay.
motor on it, so you push yourself. It's really
Oh,
the way
no
it's
way.
designed is like it's really, really, really smooth. It's like a really, really smooth. So you push yourself gently and you gently spin without needing to push again for quite a while. So what happens is you can get someone to kind of just spin you gently, and
Okay.
you kind of just off and you're away. A lot of people have like again, it's not just the benefits of being on it. The lasting benefits of being on it are amazing. Like the monkey mind, the ego is
Mhm.
turned down massively afterwards for like extended periods. And you can use it in different ways. You could use it once a week to get lasting benefits. You could use it every day. You could use it. Some people hire it out for 4 hours and they come on and off it intermittently for 10 minutes at a time.
Whoa.
Some people start to build up a tolerance and can spin for longer periods. And they do the brainwave scans. This is what
Yeah.
I love the science that complains. I really get drawn in by the people going, I don't know what's happening, but I love the science-based
Yeah.
stuff that really kind of shows on a body what's happening. And they're going into these gamma brainwave states. These are like profound life-altering experiences.
Yeah.
Theta is good because it's neuroplasticity. It means these healing, rest and recovery. Gamma is like my paradigm shifting kind of experiences. And people are showing on a like a technical, like you can
Love to
see it
see you get so
on a
excited.
data sense. Yeah, I know. It's just like
Yeah.
I can see someone's had a profound experience. They're telling me, and it mirrors here. And the way I like Benjamin Farley, such a cool guy, really interesting. He's such got a wacky background, like just like myself. I can really relate to it. Not like mine, way crazier than mine, I would say. Um, and the thing that I see, my point in this is he it draws in the loonies like me, not loonies, I shouldn't say that. The people who are awakened, the people
Open-minded.
who are really open to anything, who are kind of had these profound experiences and kind of look at it and listen to
Yeah.
intuition. But what I feel like he does and what we do when we talk about this, we push away people, mainstream people who are just can't take on board. Like, so I feel like my role is to not necessarily talk about the kind of crazy stuff, but to look at it as a grounded scientific way.
Mhm.
Because I really, my dream, my thing that I want that's going to be written right in the jar for next time is going to be I see an Unwind Machine being in every school, in every
Oh
gym, in
gosh,
every
that'd be
doctor's
great.
surgery, in every church. I don't know,
Yeah.
any place where people gather where you want to release trauma quickly, simply, that doesn't require desire, doesn't require an input, because it puts you in these states as a mechanism, as a byproduct of being in that state. Like sharks, you put a shark upside down, it's called tonic immobilization. It just switches off. The most ferocious thing on the planet, the killing machine, you put it upside down, it's like a sleeping kitten.
Okay,
It,
and that's what they
and
do when they
yeah,
bring it in. Okay, I didn't
and
realize that.
we have all these inbuilt we have these loads of animals have an inbuilt system that basically gets them to shut down and release stuff. Like a horse, you cover its eyes, it goes really mellow, it won't bolt, it won't panic. We
Okay.
have a system where if we hang upside down and spin, and this might need to be a podcast for another time. It's basically short, just really quick sort of explanation is it does something to us, and I can explain it deep into science if we need to another time, but I know we're short on time. Is it basically triggers something in the brain? You're safe, you're finally safe. It switches off fight or flight, it resets the nervous system, and it increases um, um, spinal fluid to the pineal gland. It sends blood to the pineal gland. The pineal gland is like goes on steroids. It goes berserk. It produces melatonin. People start to have lasting sleep. Start to have really resting sleep for the
Good
first
sleep.
time. Loads of amazing things. Look, and I'm scratching the surface with all the benefits of it. And again, there's loads of science because astronaut science and fighter jet science, they've been studying people spinning
Yeah, for a
uncontrollably
long time.
for it's one of the most expensive studies that go on is keeping astronauts safe, keeping fighter pilots, because we spend a lot on our military, we spend a lot to do with space and stuff like that. So this science is massive, and obviously it hasn't been used in any meaningful way for health, which is just like it, again, it's exciting because there's opportunity.
I think,
You could look at it being sad, like how have we not had this sooner? But it's
well,
all arriving now.
it's purposely, I feel, been suppressed. Let's put
It
it that. And
has, it
Stephen, I
has.
think that people just seeing your excitement for and me watching you through this process and how your excitement has just skyrocketed. I also with this one last question, knowing that I'll look up for a second, that so much of our world has been inverted, that to go into an inverted state
Hmm.
feels what I don't know. There's something about
Symbolic.
it symbolic. It's just in being comfortable within that. There's something about this also on a spiritual level that is really cool. And it's really interesting. I've been doing some, oh, what are they called? So I've been doing spinning and you do it standing up and I've been doing it to my right
Mm.
side. And only after 9 spins is just like, woo, bringing yourself back. So I'm so curious with being inverted because it sounds like you can handle more quickly doing it that way as well.
There's no dizziness at all.
Oh,
At
shut
all. So that's another aspect. There's a lot of research into spinning that provides lots of benefits, but people can't get to the benefits because they feel too sick and dizzy before they can actually
yes.
start to incur the benefits.
Okay,
The
so
reason why you
interesting.
get dizzy is you've got basically different systems out of coherence with each other. Your
Mhm.
visual system
Mhm.
contradicts what the balance is trying to do, and you've got the vestibular system in the ear which coordinates his balance as well.
Yeah.
When you hang upside down, all three systems surrender. They totally surrender, and there's no dizziness. In fact, this is a correlation in testimonials that people say is there's no dizziness or spinning. You feel like the whole planet is spinning around you. The symbolism as well that I think that sits to what you were touching on there is like how much control do you have? How much control do you
Yeah.
feel like you're in when you're upside down? None. What about when you're spinning? You surrender. It's a vulnerable position to be in.
Yeah.
Like you can't protect yourself upside down. We're not designed to fight people off upside down. We're not designed to fight off a bear spinning. The body knows you would not be doing that position unless there's absolutely no danger. That's what I feel is what it's doing. And that's why it's like, oh, this is the state where there's no danger, there's nothing. Therefore, every system can stand down finally. Because I know sometimes when we've had traumatic experiences, we go down to baseline, but it's never true baseline. It might feel rather than a 10, we're at a 6. And 6 feels like 0 compared to 10, but it's still 6. The immune system's turned down to 6. The immune system's not on 10. It's on, it's because we turn the immune system off when the fight or flight's on. Because you don't need that to fight anybody. You don't need that to live, to survive this moment. So all these other systems that we rely on to be happy, to be content and live a peaceful, happy
And
life,
food.
they're turned off because we don't need them to fight a bear off. We don't need them to not be hunted or whatever. And yeah, it basically just does the opposite and kind of involuntary turns you off. So yeah, really, really exciting. And you can sustain it until yeah, it's amazing.
All right, I'm going to find one of these because I love trying new things. Well,
Yes.
Stephen knows what I do.
And
That is,
yeah, and
but
I feel like there's a correlation with Breatharianism and that. I feel like there's a compounding effect.
interesting. All right,
Intuitively, I feel like I had to get it after the Breatharianism. When I'm looking
wow,
when I think about the jar, I think the universe has gone.
yeah,
So it needs to be Breatharianism. Then it needs to
this,
meet the right people and do everything at the retreat. Then he needs
yeah.
to, find the fire from the retreat. Then he needs to get it and the Breatharianism. And I think there's a combination there. And
Oh
again,
my
I feel like there's
gosh,
another compounding fact of having at sacred sites. Like
yes.
I have access to stone circles that are here in Britain, loads of stone circles, and I want one in a stone circle. So I feel like again, I want to get the
Uh,
data and see what the
the
correlation
energy.
is at ley lines of that, and I'm waffling on. So
Okay. You and I will obviously going to stay in touch through all of this because I love to see your excitement now and that it's dialed up. I would say even 100% because I mean you were aligned with it before, but now your passion and your energy, you are
yes,
definitely, I would call you a spiritual warrior researcher. There are so many names that go, and I hope that people who tuned in today look at Stephen and just go the possibilities. If you're
Yeah.
willing to step into something new, to try new things, the healing, the awakeness, the vibration,
Yeah.
knowing that you were depressed and suicidal, and look at you now and these dreams that you have now. And you
Mm.
are a man to watch.
Yeah.
So y'all watch this man. All right. Anything
Hmm.
else you want to say, Stephen? I think, and I'm going to go back. I always do a practice, which again is to evolve my listeners. And I think Stephen just encouraging. I think that was amazing.
Yeah. I'm not going to say anything else because I've said plenty and I probably wouldn't stop talking again. And I definitely feel like I need to come back on at some point and we can deep dive into
Yeah,
Unwind Machine because I haven't tried it yet. It's just the research and stuff that I've seen. It's just a knowing. So again, definitely going to try it and we're going to have to come back and I'll tell you my experiences
your
on it
experience, and
in
maybe I'll
more
find one near
detail.
me. And I definitely want to have you on when you have your own too, to really encourage that. All right, man. Such a pleasure. So wonderful to spend this time with you, just knowing that all of us had such a deep connection. And I encourage that for everybody else to find something where you can, like, it's almost like we found a soul family
Yeah.
together outside of blood families. And I think that there's so much of that that is needed today too, is to find, I don't like, it's not your tribe. It's just your, I guess soul family is the best. It's because tribe is still 3D kind of,
Yeah.
yeah.
Family,
So
family, just family.
yeah, just family. It's
Yeah.
great.
Family feels right.
All right, Stephen, thank you so much for bringing your heart to the show and just your all in depth about your experiences. I really appreciate it. All right, you guys, stay tuned. New Earth Eden, I'm here and we are just going to pow this world, aren't we, Stephen?
Very much so. Yeah.
Oh. Like and subscribe to the show. It helps us out with YouTube all algorithms and all that good stuff. And to let you guys know, Stephen and I, once the show is aired live, we will respond to any question and comments 24 to maybe 48 hours after. So I think this is going to be my slogan from now on. Engage.